Model trains have been an important part of the American landscape for over 100 years, with Lionel trains originally appearing in the American landscape around 1900. As with many families, trains became an important Christmas tradition in my family of 7 boys and 2 girls, especially during the 1950s, when my father began putting up our 4 by 8 foot platform. We didn't have much, but we were sure proud of our train layout. It became one of our strongest family holiday traditions. Growing up in a small 4-bedroom row home in Marcus Hook, Pennsylvania, Dad would take up half of the living room or dining room to put the platform up on 2 wooden sawhorses about 2 weeks prior to Christmas. We would all join in and attach the track, wire in the switches and lights for the old Plasticville houses, and put on the trees and green grass or the snow, depending upon our landscape plan. For me, the youngest of the 9, putting up the platform was the highlight of the year. It's also where I learned basic electricity, carpentry, metalworking, sculpting, and designing. Parallel and series wiring, AC and DC currents were all things that I became very familiar with, simply because of the work on the platform. It was this family tradition that caused me to continue the same tradition beginning in 1976, after the birth of our first 2 children, Karen and Kristen. Every year since that first 4 by 8 foot wooden platform went up, we have continued the tradition that so many Americans have enjoyed over the last century. Because of the tragic death of our eldest son on August 29, 2016, I dedicate the video of the long-standing Weldon family tradition to my son Wayne Curtis Curt Weldon Jr. and to his 7-year-old son Bennett Curtis Weldon, chief engineer and train expert. Model trains are as American as apple pie and baseball, and have been enjoyed by such serious leaders and enthusiasts as the personal hobbies of people like Frank Sinatra, Rod Stewart, Eric Clapton, Phil Collins, Bruce Springsteen, Ringo Starr, Warren Buffett, Curt Schilling, Winston Churchill, Tom Hanks, Gene Hackman, Walt Disney, and Joe DiMaggio. So as you can understand, model trains are more than just for ordinary families, but have over the years and over the past century been the focus of some of our greatest talent in sports, in acting, political leadership, and governance. But unlike other hobbies, trains can be shared by everyone in the family. And that was the way it was in our house, starting back when I was 8 or 9 years old. As you can see by the video, our simple 4 by 8 foot basic platform with just one train running around an oval has emerged into a complicated 4-tier 7 by 15 foot platform with 9 trains running at the same time through 5 separate scenes depicting life in typical American and English villages. Twinkling stars light up the backdrop of the scenes, which include a full city scene with shops and parks and hotel and places where people just stroll or drive their vehicles. There's a farm in a small town village from the early 1900s depicting someone using an anvil, other people delivering groceries. There's a Dickens village with each of the characters and buildings portrayed in the most famous Christmas story ever, including, you can see, Tiny Tim, Bob Cratchit, and even the old geezer Scrooge himself. Moving over to the right, there's a full circus and carnival with amusement rides and a circus train with animals, and then there's a Santa's village with skiers, sledders, running deer chasing each other, and Santa and Mrs. Claus. And behind, a spectacular fireworks can be seen erupting. as Santa's elves prepare the gifts for Christmas. The scenes are what people would experience in normal life. And that's really the purpose of model trains and the platform. It's to bring a miniature version of the good times in life and the different scenes that can be depicted through model trains. Joining the various villages and towns are 2 trolleys and 7 full 027 gauge Lionel trains, including a 1950s era Texas Special diesel locomotive freight train hauling over a dozen cars, a modern Amtrak Acela train speeding down the rails, a 19th century steam passenger train circling a frozen lake through Dickens Village with skaters enjoying the outdoor wintertime activity. There's a 1930s steam Pennsylvania Railroad locomotive passenger train running alongside and around Santa's Village, as well as a full circus train with the animals and attractions and announcements that the carnival is in fact open for operation. And finally, there's a 1940s era Union Pacific passenger train passed down through 2 generations from my wife's family and father, an historic relic along with a modern Conrail freight train. All the trains operate at one time. Since 1976, the annual platform has grown from 1 train and historic plastic-fill houses and buildings to multiple trains all running at once with over 40 Department 56 collectible ceramic buildings, each carefully crafted and designed to exact specifications, including interior lighting and typical Christmas decorations and holiday revelers all around. In building such a platform, painstaking hours were consumed in securing the wood slabs and coverings with a thin layer of foam covered finely by a white cloth purchased in a local fabric shop, depicting snow. After the cloth is secured, track is assembled and attached to the wood for secure, long-time train passage. Track layouts had to be placed so as not to allow accidents or collisions while passing under man-made tunnels, bridges, and passing through landscapes and typical winter scenes. Beneath the platform is a mass of wiring connecting houses and buildings to power supplies, track, and accessory wiring, connecting operating displays, and a network of 9 transformers providing power to the entire display. Since 1976, the platforms were constructed prior to Christmas. Until the children reached the ages of 8 or 9, our platform was assembled during the week before Christmas. But the trains, the buildings, and the landscaping was always done on Christmas Eve after the children went to bed, finishing in time for the children to awaken and walk down the steps, eyes wide open. Platforms were always taken down 2 to 4 weeks after Christmas and stored until the next year. Since 1912, however, our platform has remained intact so that our grandchildren and friends are able to enjoy the display all year long, with only minor changes and improvements made to the scenery and operating units. We share this short video as a tribute to our son Curt and our grandson Bennett, but we share it as an example of what one family has enjoyed as part of our annual family tradition for decades. We offer our family tradition in the hopes that other families may enjoy similar times together, providing memories for generations. Platforms for trains are not that difficult to assemble and can be fun for the parents and children alike. And these trains have lasted for decades, and as you can see, work just as well today as they did on the first day that they were purchased. Our son died much too young at the age of 35, but we offer this video as a tribute to his brief life and the legacy passed on in his beautiful son, Bennett Curtis Weldon. Thank you and enjoy the trains.